Hello, Malaika. Welcome to Intern Pro's OPT Unplugged. So let's start with your introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Malaika Iqbal. I'm an international student from Pakistan, and I just graduated with my master's in chemical engineering. I came to the US 2018, and being a student in Pakistan, I had a lot of options for study abroad. But one of the major reasons I chose the US was because a lot of the education here is very well-rounded because of like the gen ed requirements and all that. So because I was mostly undecided when I was coming into college, so I wanted to be able to declare that I'm undecided and still be able to explore other subjects and whatnot on the side. So that's why I chose the US. Intern Pro I joined because it was heavily recommended by everyone around me, and that includes students, my advisor, just like students who weren't even international. They kind of knew about it, but also I was working as this student entrepreneurship assistant, and so I was writing newsletters every week to the engineering community, and I wrote about EPICS in that newsletter for the first time. That was my first interaction with EPICS. And at the time I thought it was only for students. It's just an engagement program, but it was not until later when I found out that it's like it offers more than that to international students. And so when I'd exhausted all of my other efforts to try and find an internship, that's when I joined the EPICS.
So how was your experience at ASU doing your master's?
Well, so my master's at ASU was just 1 year because I did the 4+1, but I feel like the master's compared to the undergrad was very laid back. I felt more relaxed. I felt like the professors wanted you to be learning, as opposed to like in my undergrad, I kind of felt like the professors were trying to give you a hard time. They would make it so that the class is a little bit difficult apart from the content as well. But in my master's, I think it was very laid back. I found the faculty and the students and everything around the master's program specifically to be more student-centered.
Okay, now we'll go to the nitty-gritty of post-graduation phase.
Okay.
So what challenges did you face after graduation?
Well, so this is something I think that's a universal experience, or specific to the US. It's kind of like being thrown into the water and you kind of don't know how to swim. So it was kind of like I had to learn things myself. I had to ask people myself here and there, like people who already graduated, faculty and whatnot, to be able to understand like, okay, how do I start looking for a job or an internship and whatnot. But also, just apart from academics, I feel like I didn't really understand the procedures for what I need to do after graduation as an international student too, visa-wise. A little bit more that I had to help myself a little bit more than like someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the experience like right after you step out of your studies, like after graduation, everything seems kind of like lost. Like
It's
so,
like-
and as an F1 student, it's a lot more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah.
It's like you're starting from scratch again, which
Yeah, it's
I
stressful.
remember like 6 years ago I was doing. It's like, yeah.
But like, you had a very clear path right after your bachelor's, or like right when you started bachelor's that you would convert it into a master's degree as well, or
Not initially. So I was in Rhode Island first, and I
Right.
transferred to ASU. Did 3 years here, graduated. So in my last year of my bachelor's is when I declared my
Got it.
4+1. So that kind of constricted like my schedule in my undergrad too, because your last year is supposed to be more relaxed and whatnot, lower credit load. But since I was taking my master's classes already in my bachelor's, it was a little bit heavier course load wise, but it's not something I regret. I think that was one of the better decisions I've made in my college career.
awesome. That's great. Cool. So, how did you hear about Intern Pro, and how did it solve your post OPT problems or issues?
So I heard about Intern Pro always in the context of the EPICS program. Intern Pro I look at it as a tool as opposed to its own entity. So Intern Pro I started using because of EPICS, and it was introduced to me through EPICS, and so all my interactions with Intern Pro have been in the light of Epics, submitting my reports and whatnot. Trying to find startup companies there for possible internships, that type of stuff. So Intern Pro really, when I talk about Epics, I'm basically talking about Intern Pro as well.
Yeah.
So Epics and / Intern Pro, it was honestly one of the bigger reliefs that I've had after graduation, because I think it's such a blessing. I feel like to have an opportunity like Epics where you can still be job searching, gaining experience while still being able to conduct your independent job search.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a relief, like legal visa processes wise. I think that kind of made my transition to being independent of my college a little bit better.
Got it.
So Intern Pro really, the way it's helped me my post OPT phase is with how it's given me a platform that's very recent graduate friendly, because I feel like whether it be LinkedIn or like Handshake, all those types of platforms, they're for people looking for jobs overall in all fields, all dimensions, all levels of the jobs, be it entry, medium, senior, whatever. But Intern Pro, I feel like, is so student centered that that's what makes me find relief in it, because I know that whatever jobs or internships companies I'm applying to on Intern Pro, they're going to be responsive and they're going to receive my applications with an open mind, and they will cater my candidacy as opposed to like other platforms. So transitioning from being a student to being a post-grad, I think Intern Pro has really helped me find a great audience for like recent graduate-friendly programs and companies.
What was your first impression of Intern Pro, and how did it compare to the other platforms that you've used?
Well, so Intern Pro I thought was a lot more like significantly simplistic compared to other programs. I thought it was very easy to use, very convenient, straightforward. It's not hard to use. It's very user friendly. So even without, because navigating the Epics program, I had to go through a lot of instruction and details and syllabus. Where's what tool will allow me to do what. But with Intern Pro, it was very straightforward. It's not as complicated as other programs. There's no notifications, no messages, this and that. It's like 4 or 5 categories, basically, I think, on the tab. And from there on to, it's very straightforward to use. So I think compared to other programs and applications, Intern Pro was very user-friendly and student-friendly.
That's perfect. Sure. So can you take us through your journey through Intern Pro and how it helped you in finding a relevant job based on your field?
Yeah, so Intern Pro has this inbuilt space where you can look at all the job postings that there are, and then it'll give you a match score, and it'll give you a description. It'll even give you an email to follow up with, and that something is also that's lacking in other programs where, let's say I apply on LinkedIn, I have no follow-up email to reach back out to the hiring committee to follow up on my application and whatnot. But Intern Pro, it's very organized in that sense. So I was able to upload my resume and it automatically gives me a match score, which is really helpful in terms of finding relevant positions to my expertise, which pertains to my resume. So I've been able to apply to a lot of companies through Intern Pro that are engineering specific. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of chemical engineering specific roles as yet, but I have been seeing a lot of software engineering specific roles, AI related roles. So anyone that falls within that category, I think they would have more luck with it. But recently there's been a few more companies that have been popping up on my Intern Pro that are more aligned with my field of study. And so applying to them and being able to just even have the prospect of working with these companies that are specific to my field, I think that's been very helpful for me.
Got it. Did you happen to have a conversation or reach out to the platform owners or people who run the platform to find a project or a startup that is relevant to your field?
Well, so I didn't. I did like an interview before where it was just on Zoom. So we did that, and I'd mentioned that I've been having trouble finding companies that are related to my field. So then I become hesitant in applying to them because there is a requirement for me to be applying to jobs. But if they're not relevant to my field, then you're kind of in the gray area of like whether I should be doing this if I'm not going to be good at it and whatnot. So I mentioned that as a problem that I've been having. And then someone reached out to me on my email privately saying like we're having a chemical engineering company come on board with us. And I think that was very sweet. I think that's what kind of made Intern Pro a little bit more personable too, because I felt like the people running the program actually care about their students. They genuinely want them to be connected to relevant companies and be able to gain experience regardless of whether bigger companies are responsive or not. And so when someone reached out to me through my email telling me that there's a company coming on board that is chemical engineering specific, that's when I ended up applying for that. And right now I'm waiting to hear back from them. So fingers crossed. But I think that was a very sweet thing.
Perfect. Awesome. That's important because you get a sense of trustworthy or credibility towards the platform if it reaches out to you or like does anything in terms of helping its customers or users, like, and in this case students, right? Like, and F1 students really need help in these things because
and that reinforces my belief that like it's very student friendly because I feel like there is no other platform that's dedicated to students and especially F1 students. And so
sure.
I think that just is like an island in the middle of the ocean where like you can just
so true. You're right okay. Hopefully we're able to bring more projects onto the platform that are relevant for chemical engineering and to be honest like other fields where people are looking forward to apply to. Can you take me through the experience of how Intern Pro helped you in terms of refining your resume or like having a confidence in terms of attending interviews and things like that helps you in the future, like for your career?
In terms of my resume, I didn't really find much help on Intern Pro. Maybe that's something that I haven't explored, but I don't know that does it have something to
so at the start when you're trying to join the platform, it asks for you to like upload your resume, and they do have like a feature where it kind of like gives you pointers or tips to like refine it using keywords or like how you can structure it and so that like it has that industry standard, right? Like when people look at your resume. So that was the idea, I think. And
I haven't come across that one. Maybe I overlooked it. Out of like the resume and interviewing features on Intern Pro, I think the one that I've used more is the interview prep. So when there's this feature on Intern Pro where you can have a mock interview with this AI model that helps you prepare for your interview for that specific role that you're interviewing for, which I think is really helpful because interviewing prep can be so broad and vague because there's so many types of questions that can come. So being able to prepare for a specific type of role, I think the way Intern Pro caters to the specificity of the role while prepping you for the interview, I think that's really helpful. So there's this AI person that'll be holding that interview with you. It's very interactive. You turn on your mic, and then it gives you a little transcript too. And you're just able to review your whole transcript, and the AI model is also very responsive in a very humanly way, so it's very realistic in the way that it prepares you for the interview.
Got it. Can you give me an example of something that you learned or something that you gained out of that process that you would implement in the future interviews?
Well, so something that came to my attention because of that interview prep was that when I'm preparing for an interview, I should prepare for specific questions that would be asked for that role. So, for example, when I was preparing for my quality engineering interview, I didn't cater into my preparation that they will be asking questions specific to my past experience with that and what programs I've used, what tools I'm aware of, my experience with that specific, under that specific field.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me learn that apart from like general interview prep, I should also be, in my interview preps, I should be focusing more on the role I'm interviewing for. And that's something that was not on my mind before. I just thought that interviewing is all about like overall confidence and how eloquently you speak and whatnot. So it kind of made me learn that I should be preparing for specific roles when I'm doing my interview prep.
Got it. Awesome. Perfect. That was amazing. So how has Intern Pro helped you feel more confident in your job search or in your career path in general?
So a couple of things. So one would be that it kind of made me realize what type of companies are seeing like a match score
Mm-hmm.
with my resume. So I'm able to now tell that my resume is showing a good match score for these types of jobs as opposed to these types of jobs. So I realized that I'm using certain keywords that might be off-putting for the kind of jobs that I'm looking for as opposed to the kind of jobs that I'm getting,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's something that it made me review my resume in terms of keywords.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I learned from Intern Pro. And then the interviewing prep, that's something that I
Mhm.
also learned from Intern Pro, is to prepare for interviews specifically for the role.
Got it. Yeah.
Just overall too, I think it made me time conscious. So
Mhm.
whenever I'm putting up my hours, I kind of realize how much of my time is going into what.
Mhm.
So while I'll be doing a certain task, it's made me more time conscious, like what I'm spending my time on, because once I'm recording my hours or I'm doing hours specifically for my hours to
Mhm.
report on Intern Pro, I'm a little bit more productive
Mhm.
even, because I know I'm keeping accountability for my hours. So that's something that I personally learned from Intern Pro.
Yeah, yeah. In a way, the whole weekly progress reports that we have to
Mhm.
submit, it gives us a sense of like how to manage time
Yeah.
and also to juggle things basically, like
Yeah,
to allot
definitely.
times based on the work that we have. So I
Mhm.
think that's pretty
Yeah.
good. As I understand it, like you are yet to get a response from the company that you interviewed, right? Like,
Right, yeah.
and so it's how long has it been since you joined Intern Pro?
So it's been, I think, a month and a half almost
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the interview that I had, they said that they would love for me to join ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
But the company that I'm waiting to hear from, that's more aligned with my field of work.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, so I told them that I'm waiting to hear back from that company, and if that doesn't work out, then I'll be 100% joining their team.
Got it. So what have you been doing to report those 20 hours, weekly
So
20
I've been
hours?
doing my skill sessions
Okay.
mostly. So I've been working on getting my certifications in the
Mhm.
meanwhile. So I've gotten the project
Mhm.
the project management one, and then now I'm working on my Lean Six Sigma belt,
Mhm.
which is something that I've been wanting to do since my undergrad, but everything was just so dense
Mhm.
during my college years that I couldn't. So it's kind of nice that I'm able to use Intern Pro to further my personal, or I guess they would still be my career goals,
Mhm.
and gain certain certifications and have that still count as my hours.
Yeah, and it's a good thing, like, because without Intern Pro, if you're trying to do certification on your own, you still fall under the whole OPT restriction that, like,
Yeah,
you don't
that
have
too.
you don't get the extra time.
Mm-hmm.
With Intern Pro, it's not the case. Like, you can join this platform and not necessarily, you don't have to be in a project. You still
Right.
can do your certification and still enjoy the benefit of
Yeah.
getting extra time.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that sets Intern Pro apart from other platforms too,
Mm-hmm.
is that it truly has your best interests at
Mhm.
heart. So all the people that are running it, the way the platform is designed, it's truly to cater to students and to the user. And I think that that's something that I'm yet to see in any other platform.
Got it.
Well, so Intern Pro, I think something that's great about it that has set it apart from other programs is that it will allow you to be doing your skill sessions, working on getting certifications, let's say, and have that still count as your work hours or reported hours, whereas they're outside of Intern Pro, you would still fall under the restrictions of like OPT requirements, or like just normally when I was not on Intern Pro, I kept procrastinating taking the certifications that would really complement my candidacy for a lot of positions. But since I've joined Intern Pro, I've had that incentive of taking certifications online and have that still count as my hours. And so that itself has been really productive. Being able to do skill sessions, take certifications, and
Awesome.
have that still be recognized by the platform.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for adding that whole procrastination bit. That was amazing.
Because that's what I kept
Yeah.
doing. Like
We
I
all
was
do
like,
that.
It's like the course I'm taking right now, I bought it like a year ago.
Oh, okay.
So
No, I
I
have
was
one like that as well. So I totally get the whole point of like that push that like when you have a deadline or when you have something like that is making you do it.
Yeah.
That's when you actually do it. Like it's not the fact that like you don't like doing it, but
Yeah.
it's just that there needs to be an external force for you to
Yeah.
like finish it.
Or like some type of incentive. Because
Yeah.
they're like, okay, I have to do my 20 hours this week. Might as well use it for my certification.
Yeah,
then.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I think because of that, like I've been able to get these small milestones where I got this certification. I'm about to get my second one. That's really encouraging too. So it kind of keeps you wanting to go and like keep doing this because I am seeing progress and I am being rewarded. So
yeah,
it like
it's perfect that you mentioned that. Like we, I mean, at Intern Pro at least, like we are focusing on like the smaller milestones that you could achieve while you are in on board the platform, right? Though if you're not getting any projects that are relevant to your field, you can still do something that like helps you push start your career like after, once you get one.
Right. Yeah.
So you can still like talk about the things that you learned during the whole process.
Right. Yeah.
Describe Intern Pro in 3 words.
Convenient. User-centered. That's one word still, right?
Yeah, it is. As a UX person, I would I would acknowledge that.
User-centered and productive.
Awesome. Perfect. That's amazing. What's the one thing that you learned about yourself after joining Intern Pro?
Is that I need some type of force or entity to keep me accountable for my time. Because like we were talking about earlier, like I fall into this habit of procrastination. So just having that little nudge of like, okay, you should be doing something is very helpful in terms of keeping me accountable. And so, not that I don't want to help myself, but I think Intern Pros really kept me on my toes. And so, yeah, I think it's helped me keep track of my time, be more responsible and accountable with my time.
Awesome. Perfect. So if you could give your past self one piece of advice before starting this journey, what would it be?
Okay, for my post-graduation self, I would say don't let your unemployment days accumulate.
Got it.
For my pre-college self, I would say to get an internship during your college career and have it be relevant to what field you want to go into later. Because I think that's what I'm finding out is that I didn't do an internship while I was still a student, and a lot of the internships I'm looking into now are looking for students.
Okay, yeah.
So that's something that I would have changed if I could.
Just out of curiosity, why didn't you try? Why didn't you try getting into it?
Because I was working part-time on campus.
Got it.
And so I don't know why I didn't try to actually get an internship off campus, because I think there was also that thing with I have to get my CPT then,
Mm-hmm.
and like it just seemed like a whole thing, and I was already working too, and then yeah, I don't know.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes we never know why we do things we do.
Yeah.
Also, like, again, out of curiosity, like, why do you say that, like, you don't want to accumulate your OPT days? I mean, sorry,
Oh.
unemployment days.
Well, because it doesn't do STEM OPT,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think I should have saved my unemployment days for after I couldn't be doing my program for my OPT.
All right.
Not that I think it would take a year for me to find a job, hopefully not. But
Hopefully not, yeah.
yeah, and also because I basically wasn't doing anything
Mm-hmm.
after I graduated. I wasn't doing anything productive.
Got it.
There were all these certifications that I'd bought the courses for. I wasn't doing them. So if I just started earlier, I think that would have kept me on my toes
Mm-hmm.
for from earlier on,
Got it.
and that would have been better. Yeah.
How has Intern Pro supported you in balancing your weekly work hours and also your job search?
Well, so I do wish that Intern Pro would factor in the hours that I'm putting towards my job search outside of Intern Pro.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do that, which kind of makes sense too, but I wish that that's something it would do differently.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of keeping me accountable for my time, I think that's been very productive. It's just 20 hours that I have to do, which is, it's very seamless if you're actually like enjoying what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not very hard to be doing something you're enjoying with Intern Pro, because you can either be, there's two options. You can either be working for a company that you should have researched and that should be relevant to your field,
Mm-hmm.
or you'll be doing skill sessions that are relevant to your field.
Got it.
Either way, I think it should be a productive or enjoyable experience. And so,
Awesome.
yeah.
What advice would you give to other F1 graduates or international students who are considering joining Intern Pro?
There's nothing that should be holding you back.
Mhm.
I think you should join, or at least look into what it is. I know in the beginning there's like a lot of things going in your mind, like in terms of health insurance, in terms of visa, like what's the process that you need to do? Are you still going to be on a student visa or not? Or there's just a lot going on. But if you are to join Intern Pro, it will guide you step by step in terms of what you need to be doing to have your resume done, to your interview prep, down to the types of jobs you should be looking into, and it'll help you step by step with what the legal procedures are as well,
Mhm.
that you need to be doing through your portals and whatnot. So I think there should be no hesitation when it comes to it. Intern Pro.
I think that's an amazing answer. Thank
Just
you
do
for
it,
that.
guys. I feel like it's also like so light. It doesn't feel like it's like a very rigorous
Mhm,
program.
mhm. Yeah.
It's like very light and it's friendly, and it's there to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, I don't understand what it's getting out of us, but like really if you think about it, it's all for you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I think it makes your transition from being a student to like
Mhm.
post-grad very seamlessly, because it will like kind of like slide you into
Yeah.
everything else slowly.
Okay. So since we are in that whole thought, how do you think that it enhances a student, or like basically transitions a student from being a student into to work in a workplace, basically?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
Because it kind of takes you from being a student. So if this is you being a student, this is you being a worker, it kind of slowly transitions you into being a worker for a company. Because I still kind of feel like I am a student,
Mm-hmm.
but not really, because there's no grading, or like there's no direct entity that I'm accountable to. So that's the part that kind of makes it feel like I'm working, but I'm also still kind of a student. So I think the transition here that Intern Pro helps you make is very seamless,
Mm-hmm.
because it will, the way it handholds you through all of the steps to do or to take after you graduate, I think that's what helps you transition really smoothly into like the workforce.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Malika. Thank you for joining us.